nature man.
Ain't no light to see.
All those plans I made for myself, I got nobody else to lean on. Got so far with my head in the clouds, now it's time to get down.
Research efforts to discover new antibiotics have stalled. In the post-World War II period following Alexander Fleming's breakthrough discovery of penicillin, new antibiotics were discovered and developed at a breathtaking pace. The golden age of antibiotic discovery peaked in the 1950s, and during this period, the pharmaceutical industry was the engine of innovation. But then, discoveries started dropping drastically from the 1980s onward, with no new antibiotics being produced in nearly 3 decades. Government, industry, and medical communities all agree that in the face of this mounting crisis, efforts to revive and improve the likelihood of successful drug discovery is essential. Enter Acurx Pharmaceuticals. They are a biopharmaceutical company focused on developing new antibiotics for difficult-to-treat infections such as MRSA, VRE, and DRSP. We face new threats every day, big and small. Acurx Pharma is on the front lines of health using technology to help us treat tomorrow's infections today. Acurx Pharmaceuticals.
Little bad finger for you on Apple Records. And Mike Costa, I will think you'll agree, is the bad finger of this show.
Thank you.
You know why you're a bad finger? Because you wear a pinky ring, and that's the bad finger. Anybody with a pinky ring. Excuse my audience has a pinky ring. Dang. We were talking about, before the show, before the break.
Yep.
I said, hey guys, you step into my office.
Ooh.
And automatically you think, something's bad, right?
The whole studio went cold.
Right. Right. Right?
Yeah.
Or here's another example. You're driving on the freeway. Woo! Where do I have sirens? I got sirens here somewhere. Here. And you're like, and everybody's had that feeling, right?
Yeah.
Right behind you?
Right.
It's an ambulance.
Oh.
See how your patterns are faster than your thoughts?
Big time.
I don't know why I'm teaching that lesson today. I know why, because I told the band I want to meet at 3:45. You just step in my office. They automatically think something bad.
Yeah, they all
It's
started
not,
looking at
it's
each other.
good.
Like,
It's a
"What did you
fantastic
do?"
thing. We're going to have 4 less people in the band. It's going to be awesome. Now, why would it be your 4? I just demonstrated it a second time. I'm going to do a little seminar, a little book and tape series. You can buy them in the back of the
Boom, there it is.
Yes,
You like that? All right. Hey, Stephen Croskrey is the CEO of a company called Danimer Scientific. First of all, welcome back to our 110 million broadcast homes that we're in every single weeknight, and 150 radio stations now in 175 countries on American Forces Radio Network. It's great to have you guys on. I want you to think about something. Have you ever heard these words? 3 words. Biodegradable plastic products. I've never even heard of it. Well, plastic products don't they last until,
Yeah, they'll outlive a nuclear war.
I got called on by the association, the guy with the clipboard and a golf cart. It's a,
Oh, yeah.
big
yeah,
flashlight.
Yeah.
He's a middle manager during his daytime job, but at night he is the boss. Hitting golf balls off the backyard into the canyon.
Right.
Well, yeah, that's an environmental problem, right? Not if they're biodegradable golf balls.
Thank you.
Right? So the maker of biodegradable golf balls is Danimer Scientific. No, I'm totally kidding. They don't do that. Stephen, how are you, sir?
No
I'm
pressure.
good, Bob. How are you?
I've completely hijacked this completely. But if you wanted to, you could make biodegradable golf balls. I'm sure. Hey, welcome to the program. Great to have you along. I want to talk about this thing called plastic products that are biodegradable and compostable, because I know that they're scratching the surface of that technology. You guys seem to have wrangled that and are now the tip of the spear of that kind of good news. So talk about it.
So the way this works, we're reproducing something that occurs in nature every day. If you think about a tree and has leaves and a leaf falls to the ground, there's carbon in that leaf that's captured from the sun and the atmosphere. And when it falls to the ground, there are bacteria in the soil that will consume it. And the way that works is they break the carbon down in that leaf and synthesize it into another form of carbon for their own metabolic purposes that allow them to reproduce and move around and do their thing. And so what we do is recreate that process that's been going on for millennia in nature. We recreate that in a fermentation.
So wait, so what
process.
you're talking about is composting, right? With your first, your example.
No, technically it's biodegradation when bacteria directly consumes the material. Composting, you can be the beginning of biodegradation, but it usually requires heat and moisture to get a product to break down. But a purely biodegradable product is just consumed by bacteria. And that's how this works. So we feed vegetable oil to these bacteria in a fermentation vessel and allow them to get fat and happy.
Yeah.
And then we break that cell wall open and extract the carbon from inside the cell wall. And the beauty of this is that is the plastic resin. So we make an article out of it, and if it accidentally gets into nature, it will be consumed by bacteria.
So these are the products that Danimer makes, and let's talk about that, because you have a signature product called Nodax. Am I saying that correctly?
Nodax. Yeah, Nodax is the name for our PHA, polyhydroxyalkanoate. We take that PHA and we combine it with other degradable materials and inert materials found in nature like calcium and things like that, and make them functional for use in actual applications. So I have a couple examples here. That's a Starbucks straw. Starbucks is using our straws in North America.
Mike had one of those behind his ear most of the 80s, if I'm not mistaken. Sorry, we'll edit.
Grab the Yale.
We'll edit that out. Sorry. But so wait a second. So your big giant green Starbucks straws, that's you guys, huh?
That's us.
You know, do you know where we need you?
Everywhere.
SeaWorld.
Everywhere.
Right?
Where?
SeaWorld.
Oh, yeah.
Yo, so of course, you may be watching us in New York City, folks. You might be listening to us in Baghdad, for God's sakes, on American Forces Radio. But San Diego, one of the big issues has been SeaWorld, the sea life, first of all. I'm not sure a great idea of putting a whale into a swimming pool is great in the first place, but let's add insult to injury by giving them plastic straws with Slurpee residue in them.
Yeah.
And that's been an issue here. The word mandate comes up when I think about this, Stephen, because more and more municipalities and governments are demanding that we remove plastic from our universe, which I would argue is probably a good thing. That's got to help you guys, because per your example there with Starbucks, I think you have a Dunkin' Donuts, you're at Yankee Stadium, your Mercedes-Benz Stadium, so on and so forth. This has got to be just the tip of the spear, because those are corporations and municipal venues that want to be ahead of the curve. But there's going to be governments they're going to make companies do this, and I think that gives you a global footprint, does it not?
Yeah, that's happening right now. These bans, can be good, but they can also be bad, just depending on how well written they are. A lot of the bans will exclude any possible solution because people don't really understand yet that there are alternatives. So plastic serves a useful function, and it's helped humanity a lot, just being able to preserve food and things like that. I mean, think back 100 years ago, you couldn't carry a plastic chip bag around and have a snack.
Right. True.
So there's a lot of things that we would rather not see a complete ban. We want to see them, leave room for compostable and degradable solutions like ours. I mean, as you know, like paper straws, they're horrible.
They're horrible. That is the bane of human existence.
Yeah.
I swear.
The worst.
I'd rather get pulled over and get a ticket than have a paper straw. Except for the old days where they had the little, remember those? That is universal sound for, you know what I'm talking about, don't you? Oh, yeah. Remember those sippy straws? Exactly.
Hey, Stephen, how long is the biodegradable, the compostable process? Like if this thing gets into...
Good question. Yeah. So it depends on the amount of bacteria that are present wherever that item ends up. The more bacteria there is to begin with, the faster the process will take place. If there's a small amount of bacteria, it just takes a little longer. But also it takes longer or shorter depending on the thickness or how big the item is. So think about my example of a leaf falling to the ground.
Yeah.
That leaf is going to go away pretty quickly. But if that tree falls over, guess what? It's got the same carbon in it, but it's just going to take longer to go away.
Yeah, so in other words, it's going to take Mike Costa a lot of years to decompose. I can tell you that. Because, if it's if it's a thickness thing.
It's my facelift.
Stephen, will you come back on the air with us? This is fantastic. We need to spend more time with you.
Holy cow.
You got to come on another day. Stephen Croskrey. Danimer Scientific. Look at their stock symbol, DNMR. Go to Danimer.com. We're going to have him back in the weeks to come here. The future of plastics is here.